Hello everyone, my name is Kate,
Hi, my name is Artyom.
and we were the translators of the project called Night and Wolf.
Well, it was bigger than just translations since we're adapting it for English speaking audience, and that's kind of more than just translation.
Yes, I would agree with that, but first and foremost, we should probably speak a little bit about the project. This is a music and art project which was created by Alexander and Ilya Denisov. So, this father and son relationship actually developed into this fascinating project, which speaks about the man's purpose in life, speaks about the ambitions and all the vicissitudes that the man has to face in his life.
Yeah, that's pretty much it. But the thing is, it grew to something much more bigger than just father and son small project, since now it involves many people that are working on it and us included. And well, since we're speaking English, the project is basically trying to go international to attract more audience, even overseas. And yes, this is pretty much it. Big important project about manhood, about your dreams, and what dreams you should have, what you should not have, and what do you believe.
So, Artyom and I were responsible for rendering this project into English and making it as easy as possible for the English speaking viewer to understand. So, we should probably say that this was not an easy task. This was a very difficult task. I was responsible for translating and adapting the project of the website, the official website that the Night and Wolf project has, and also the publications that we did on all the social media. While Artyom
Yeah.
was,
Yeah, but well, you also did the videos.
yes, I also did the video, the subtitles, and yes, we also put the videos on YouTube, and you can check them out later on.
Well, yeah, as you can see, Kate, she did the bulk of the work because, yeah, a lot of stuff to translate. For us, I took a much smaller part, but
But the
next,
smaller part is not the easiest part.
yeah, it was not the easiest part, of
That's
course. It
for
was
sure.
probably one of the hardest parts. And I was translating, adapting, whichever word you want to use, the poetry of Alexander into English for the English speaking audience. And yes, that was extremely hard. It took a lot of time, a lot of effort, and hell, I didn't imagine it to be this hard, even though that I like poetry myself and I wrote some poetry in English. So yeah, that gave me a little bit of a head start. But that was really something.
Yeah, I would agree with that because I personally was finding it so difficult to understand the sonnets, the poetry in Russian, even though Russian is the language that I speak, and this is my first language,
Yeah, so
and
so.
yeah, thank you. So it was really difficult, extremely difficult for me to understand some of the words. It doesn't have to say that I don't speak Russian very well. It just has to say that the author, Alexander, was trying to probably conceal some really important ideas into this poetry, and the way he put it was extremely profound, and not everyone is going to be able to find out what really this or another piece of poetry means. So it takes a lot of time, it takes a lot of effort to understand, and obviously it takes much more time to translate this kind of poetry into English. So I think that Artyom did an extremely wonderful job by rendering those pieces of poetry into English, and I really think that this is a great, great thing to do.
Yeah, but I wouldn't just say that he tried to conceal, or that Alexander tried to conceal something with all those words, because it's important to understand that that was a highly educated man. He was intelligent. He was a man of culture, and he was an artist. Plus, he wanted to make the sonnets feel like something traditional, like Shakespeare sonnets. So you couldn't just, use basic and easy vocabulary there. You have to make it sophisticated. And yeah, I would agree that it was, and it still is, hard to understand in the Russian language, and you have to really dig deep to understand what's in there. And that's another thing that I wanted to make clear and easier to understand for English speaking audience, because the sonnets were complicated, they were difficult to understand in Russian, and I wanted them to be much easy to understand in English. And yeah, that's something that I had to really work on. Plus, there are many Russian concepts that are inside this poetry that many people outside of Russia just wouldn't understand. This is something I had to work with. But I try to be as loyal as I could to Alexander's initial work, but that's why it's not just translation, but it's also a creative process. Since when you're translating poetry, you can't just translate it. You also have to write it. You have to compose something yourself, because you take some parts from the initial work and you combine them with your own creation, and that is the way to make it unique, to make it seem natural. And that's something I really worked on in the poetry.
So yeah, this project was a sort of a revelation to both of us, I think, because we've discovered so many new topics, so many problems that we ourselves have to overcome in our life. So it was eye-opening in some way for both of us, and it was just an amazing experience to have, since we both haven't had any experience translating some art projects. We had to deal with technical translations of socio-political subjects, or
some business stuff.
Yes, commercial stuff, absolutely. So yeah, this was the first experience translating an art project, and obviously you feel the difference of this kind of project and commercial project, because Ilya and his father and other members of this project put a great and profound meaning into it, and so we were supposed to reveal it, and we were supposed to show it to the English-speaking audience.
Well, yeah, that's pretty much it. But another thing is that many things that were on my mind at that time, many things that I felt important, but that I didn't quite understand, but I was thinking about them, and then I found those ideas in Alexander's poetry, and that was really a revelation, because sometimes you think about something and then you read something and you see that the author of the work, he basically explains it to you, think something you cannot put into words, and that is something I found in this poetry. And yeah, that was actually first experience working in something extremely creative and artistic, yeah, since it was more like business, politics, all that kind of stuff, and technical stuff. So it was really a great feeling, to be creating, because there was some emotion, some feelings in there, because something you really felt for the project and the things you were doing. So yeah, that was good.
So, and speaking about the explanation, actually, so you spoke about Alexander trying to explain the meaning of the project in his poetry, and it was actually pretty interesting how I tried to understand it, because when I first came to know about this project, Ilya told me that I might probably not be able to understand what this project is about. So he was trying to give me a hint, saying that, well, this is a project about the man, so you as a woman might not be able to interpret it the way I do. So I was thinking that this is going to be quite a challenge for me, because as an interpreter, obviously I have to understand what I'm interpreting. So yes, this was the first thing. And the second thing is that actually when I started to learn the text, when I started to render it into English, the website and the publications, the posts, and the videos, I realized that this project is actually not just about a man's purpose in life. It's actually about anyone. It's so ubiquitous that you realize that it's not only men, but also women who are trying to achieve something in life, who are very ambitious, who are trying to build their career. They all are going to face the same problems as the knight does in this project. So we really hope that in this project, in the poetry, the illustrations, the music, and the narration of the project, you will be able to find your own meaning. You will be able to discover something new. And yes, so we try to do our best to explain it to you in English, and we really hope that you will appreciate our work. Thank you very much.